Welcome to the deep dive.
Yes.
So, you're diving into the world of scenic painting.
It's a fascinating blend. It really is. Artistry and technical skill. Gotta have both.
I don't think people realize how much detail, like, goes into making those sets, those immersive environments, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah, so that's what we're here to uncover. We're going deep, really deep into what scenic painters actually do,
Yeah.
beyond the obvious.
Beyond those buckets of paint.
Yeah, exactly. For example, our sources mentioned this thing, trompe-l'oeil. I think I'm saying that right.
Trompe-l'oeil.
Have you ever seen like those crazy realistic paintings
Wow.
on a flat surface, but they trick your eye into seeing like way more depth than there actually is?
Trompe-l'oeil it's a classic scenic painting technique for sure. It's all about perspective, light, and shadow, to create that illusion. Imagine a plain wall and you're transforming it into like an endless hallway just with paint.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's wild. It's magic, but with paintbrushes instead of wands. Our research also talked about how it's not just like independent artistry. It's not just you in a room, going crazy with these techniques. Scenic painters actually work hand in hand with designers,
Yeah.
right? To like translate those visions into the physical sets.
It's a full-on collaboration. The designer provides the concept, the artistic vision, the look and feel of everything, and then the scenic painter, they bring that vision to life, using their technical expertise. They're problem solvers, too.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like how to create those textures, finishes, effects.
Using whatever tools and materials they have,
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
exactly.
That makes me think about, well, the sheer variety of productions out there. Plays, musicals, operas, even like those big themed events.
Yeah.
I bet the demands on a scenic painter change, like drastically depending on the project.
Absolutely. Think about the difference between, say, a weathered ancient stone wall for Shakespeare versus like a sleek, futuristic spaceship interior for, I don't know, some sci-fi thriller.
Wow.
Completely different techniques, materials, the whole nine yards.
Okay, that's blowing my mind a little. And on top of all that creative problem solving, our sources mentioned that the work itself, the environment, it can be pretty demanding. Long hours, sometimes in cramped spaces, potentially even working like way up high.
Oh, yeah.
It's not always glamorous, is it?
It's not a 9-to-5 job, that's for sure. There's a certain level of dedication, passion required to thrive, especially in those final days leading up to opening night, when the pressure is on.
Oh, yeah.
To get everything done.
Yeah. Makes you wonder, like, what drives these artists? Why do it? The conditions, the pressure, long hours.
It's the magic of it, right? That moment, curtain rises, lights hit the stage, boom, audience is in another world.
And they helped make that magic happen.
Exactly.
I could see that. Knowing your work, it like moved people, sparked imaginations. That's got to be rewarding.
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just visual, there's the practical side, too. Mood, atmosphere, even acoustics, scenic painting affects it all.
Speaking of practical, I was fascinated by all the talk about specialized materials in our research. Scenic paint, I'm guessing, isn't just like regular paint from the hardware store.
No, not at all. It's purpose-built. Needs to be super pigmented. Those colors got to pop under stage lights, right?
Yeah.
Often needs to dry fast. Deadlines are tight. And it's got to be durable. Those sets go through a lot. Performances, scene changes, the works.
Wow, the paint's like another member of the cast. It's a team effort, all of it. This is making me think, someone listening right now, maybe they're interested in this career, but like, where do you even start? What advice would you give them?
One thing that kept coming up in our research, a strong portfolio, that's key.
Like your art resume.
Exactly. But instead of just listing skills, you're showing them off,
Right. Show, don't tell.
Exactly. And it doesn't have to be years of professional work, personal projects, student stuff, even volunteer gigs, anything to show off your skills.
It's good to know. Our listener also had questions about a typical career path in this field. What did our research say about that?
Well, it's not always linear, like some careers, there's no one right way. Some start as apprentices, work their way up.
Okay.
Others freelance for a bit, build their portfolio and reputation.
So different strokes for different folks.
Exactly.
Makes sense, given how creative this field is. Our sources did mention joining a professional organization, like the United Scenic Artists Local 829. What exactly is a local in this context?
It's basically a regional chapter of a bigger union, in this case, the United Scenic Artists.
Got it.
Being part of a local can provide a lot of valuable resources, especially for those just starting out.
What kind of resources?
Networking, job boards, sometimes even workshops and training. It's all about connecting with other professionals in your area, learning the industry standards. You might even be able to get healthcare and retirement benefits.
Wow, that's huge.
Uh,
Especially for freelancers who might not have those benefits otherwise.
exactly, exactly. It's a support system.
Yeah.
This field can be pretty competitive. And speaking of competition, we have to talk about technology's impact on scenic painting.
Yeah. Can't ignore that elephant in the room. Or should I say, robot arm.
Right.
Our sources definitely pointed to some big changes because of technology.
Yeah, computer-aided design. Sad. It's everywhere. Designers use it to create these incredibly detailed digital models of sets.
Wow.
And digital printing, you can create huge backdrops, scenery, all with insane precision.
It's interesting, though, because our sources also talked about how those traditional painting techniques are still in high demand. Why do you think that is?
Technology, it's a great tool. It can enhance and streamline things, but
Yeah.
there's a human touch, an artistry, two traditional techniques that's hard to replicate.
Yeah, there's something about a skilled hand and a brush,
Exactly. Mixing custom colors, subtle textures, adapting on the fly, that takes years to master.
So it's not about replacement, more like
Exactly.
expansion, right?
Right.
Technology just gives scenic painters more tools to work with.
Exactly. It's that synergy between old and new, digital and handcrafted. And for a scenic painter who can embrace both, the future's looking pretty bright.
Speaking of the future, we like to leave our listeners with a question to think about, something that sticks with them.
I think I know where you're going with this.
You've been one step ahead this whole time.
Uh-huh.
All right, listener, here's your food for thought. How do you think virtual reality, VR, and augmented reality, AR, will impact scenic painting and set design in general?
Will physical sets become obsolete? Or will these technologies just become another tool in the toolbox?
It's pretty mind-blowing to think about.
Oh,
It really
yeah.
makes you think about like the future of theater.
A whole experience.
Yeah, how tech is going to shape it.
It's exciting for sure.
Definitely. But even with all this tech talk, our research really emphasized one thing, that human touch, the scenic artist's vision.
Oh, absolutely. No matter how good the tech gets, traditional techniques, there's an art to it.
It can't be faked.
Nope. The color mixing, the brushwork, textures, machines can't replicate that.
It's that understanding of like how paint behaves.
Years of experience, right? Exactly. A skilled scenic painter, they just know how to approach it, what techniques to use. It's its own art form.
This whole deep dive, it's really opened my eyes. The detail, the craft, it's so much more than just, here's some paint, go at it.
Right. It's about understanding the story, the characters, the mood.
It's like they're another storyteller, but with, a paintbrush.
Exactly. Enhancing the story, creating that world.
And for someone listening, maybe thinking, this sounds awesome, but is it for me? What advice would you give?
Passion for art, love of theater, willingness to work hard. You're already halfway there.
Oh, and our sources mentioned team player, got to be one.
Huge. Collaboration is key in this field. You're working with designers, directors, other painters, even stagehands.
Wow, that's a lot of cooks in the kitchen.
It is. You got to take direction well, communicate clearly, be a problem solver.
And patient, I'm guessing. Those last-minute changes got to be stressful.
That's theater, baby. Always evolving. You adapt, stay positive, got to roll with the punches.
So, as we lower the curtain on our Scenic Painter deep dive,
Love a good final thought.
next time you're at a show, any show, play, musical, opera, really look at the set.
Take it all in.
Those backdrops, the props, even the little details. It's all part of the magic, thanks to these scenic artists.
Behind the scenes, but their impact, huge.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's a wrap on the deep dive, everyone. See you next time for another deep dive into, well, something fascinating. Until then, keep exploring, keep learning, keep those curious questions coming.